We're looking at lesson 66 today. We have the signs of fractions and 30, 60, 90 degree triangles. Our first example, what we're trying to do is get a common denominator. And between these denominators, if we look at them, we see that the x's are exactly the opposite sign and the 3's are exactly the opposite sign. So if I factor out a -1 from that second denominator, it would have the same signs as the first denominator. So that's going to be our first step. So I'd factor out a -1, and then I would have x minus 3. Now, we have a negative on top and a negative on bottom. We can rewrite this as plus -7a over -1 times x minus 3. And then I can cancel this negative with this negative because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So now I have the same denominator, and I'll just need to add the numerators together. So this will be 1 plus 7a over x minus 3. And then that would be our answer, because all we can do really is make them into one big fraction. We're not going to just have a number or a single digit as our answer. This is going to have some variables in it. Alright, then in example 2, it has a very similar situation. The x's have opposite signs and the 3's have opposite signs. So I'm going to rewrite this, and I'm going to put the x's and the 3's in the same order. And I'm also going to go ahead and factor out a -1. So this is now going to be a positive x, and that will be a -3. So I factored out the -1, which changed both their signs, and then I put them in the same order as our first denominator. Now what I can do with this -1 is change the signs of the numerator. So I'd have 4x plus 5 over x minus 3, and I can leave that as a plus. And the reason I can do that is because this would have an understood 1 in front of that binomial, and 1 divided by a -1 is a -1. So I'm going to distribute that across. So I'll have a -2x plus 3 over x minus 3. Now I can combine those two fractions into one big fraction, and I'll also need to put my like terms together. So I can combine that 4x and that -2x together to give me positive 2x, and I can also combine my 5 and 3 to give me a plus 8, and then that is over x minus 3. So that would be our final answer. Okay, in example 3, we want to get exact answers. So we want to leave square roots in. We don't want to have decimals as our answer. And so what we use to find the exact numbers is the 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. Sorry, my triangle does not look very pretty. So this would be a 2 as the hypotenuse, and then between the 60 degree angle and the 90 degree angle is a 1, and then this is understood to be 30 degrees just because you know that all the angles inside a triangle would add up to 180, and so this is also 30 degrees even though they don't give you that. And then this would be the square root of 3. So what we're going to do is create ratios and set them equal to each other using corresponding sides. So I would say 5 over 2 would be equal to x over the square root of 3. Then to find what x is, I would just multiply both sides by the square root of 3. So x equals 5 square roots of 3 over 2. Okay, then to find y, I'm going to use that same 5 over 2, and this time I'm going to set it equal to y over 1. Okay, and then y over 1 is the same as just y, so y equals 5 over 2. And so these are the values of our missing sides. So you're just setting up ratios and proportions to solve for the missing sides, which we've done in earlier lessons. Hopefully this will help you, and if you have any questions, please feel free to email or ask in class.